What is going on, Mile High City? Welcome back to Broncos Country News. I'm your host and anchor, Caleb Malden. I know it's been a long time, but football season is finally back in the Mile High City. And, of course, training camp is back. I've gone to camp 3 times because I want to get a good look. I've followed the reports. I've seen everything. Of course, there's still some training camp left. The next week, obviously, the preseason games. They have their joint practice with the Vikings. But, you know, it also means overreactions in some cases. So people are trying to keep a scorecard right now. Let's just jump into this, okay? Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. That's a big story. People are trying to keep a scorecard, you know, who's winning, who's not. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, you can only learn so much going through practice, okay? And people keep in mind, people also forget how incredible this defense is going to be. This back end is so hard to throw against. People say, well, Drew Lock and Teddy, you know, haven't been that impressive. The thing is, though, we don't want them to force things, correct? We don't want them to make turnovers, but the defense won't allow a lot of open spaces. The defense is just, they're sticking to the receivers like glue, and the receivers are doing their best. They just can't get separation, which is hard to do because you have 4 Pro Bowl caliber guys starting in Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Kyle Fuller, Bryce Kellen, all 4 guys who have been to Pro Bowls or been on the All-Pro list. And then you have a first-round pick in Patrick Surtain, who is living up to be just as advertised. He's big, he's fast, very athletic, can catch the ball, fantastic ball hawk. And right now, it just seems like the receivers are good. The secondary is just so elite that it's hard for the receivers to really gain any separation. So the quarterbacks just take what they can. A lot of the reads they make are the right reads. People are saying, well, it's uninspiring and it's a little boring. It's practice. What do you expect? This also shows how football deprived we are because we are literally asking for practice to be exciting. Trust me, and anyone can attest to this who's practiced any kind of practice, any level of sports. I've practiced football before. Practice gets old very, very quickly. Not just for those watching and observing, but for those playing in it. Trust me, practice gets old quick. You're doing the same thing every day. You're running the same scripts. You're running the same plays. At the end of the day, that's what the Broncos are doing. They're running similar scripts. Now, some people point out that Teddy Bridgewater's been more aggressive. Lately, Drew's been more conservative. But last week, Drew was really aggressive. Teddy was, well, Teddy. He was conservative. And they said last week really felt like Drew's week. This week is more half and half, maybe slight edge to Teddy. I don't know. But it depends on who you ask and who you watch. And you really have to be there yourself to get a good view. And I'll tell you what I've seen myself. To me, it felt like week 1, they were just kind of let Teddy and Drew do their typical thing. You know, hey, we'll let Drew throw deep, we'll let Drew be aggressive, we'll let Drew take shots, and we're just going to let Teddy check things down. That's what we'll do. Typical thing. And then this week, both quarterbacks seem to be doing the opposite things because of the way things are scripted. Pat Shurmur brought that up. There's a script that's different for each quarterback in each session. Like people said, we were practicing throwing interceptions. Well, yeah, it's working the clock to try to get field goals at halftime. Like they were running a 30-second drill where, okay, you have 3 plays to get us in range and then clock it. Okay, you need to work on that stuff. It's like people forget, we just can't have the quarterbacks play a glorified game of 500. We have to actually have them run game scenarios. You know, that's what this is what we're not grasping as fans. Practice is working on concepts, even if they are incredibly, incredibly boring. Even if they are incredibly boring, practice is supposed to get you ready for games. Trust me, any athlete will tell you, practice does get old, but if it helps you win, who cares? If it helps you win, who cares? So, right now, it's weird to have any kind of decision made with the QB battle. Okay, because at the end of the day, practice, again, only teaches you so much. Drew has done a better job of being conservative, going through progressions, not forcing anything, taking what's there. He's done a better job, and I'll give him credit. Teddy has done a better job at trying to be aggressive and go deep. Last week again, both quarterbacks did their typical thing. This week it felt more they were trying to do the other thing. Maybe because coaches drew up more deep concepts for Teddy. They want to see, okay, can Teddy push the ball? But they drew short concepts for Drew. They want to see, okay, Drew Luck, can you be conservative? Can you be short game? Like, can you just take the short stuff and not force anything? Yes, he can. And the problem is, most of Teddy's mistakes have come when he's trying to be aggressive. He's trying to stretch the ball down the field and really throw it. And like today, for example, I was there today at practice. He had 2 terrible interceptions. One was an interception. He was in the red zone. He threw the ball behind Noah Fant. It looked like he was trying to force into a window that wasn't there, and Simmons made a play. Then the third one, I don't know who he was looking for, but it was against the backup secondary. He threw it in near triple coverage, and it should have been a pick. It was dropped by Trey Marshall, but it should have been a pick. Drew today, very safe, conservative. He had a few TDs in the red zone. Did look okay today. He mostly took over his air, made some good reads, had a few drops that did not go his way. Receivers had some drops issues today. The defense has looked as advertised. The offense, they're looking better. They're looking improved. So let's talk about Drew for a second. Drew Lock, at this point, for me, the concerns I had in Drew Lock's film study that I did of him, most of them have been addressed. The footwork and mechanics much improved, which means his deep ball accuracy is better, his timing is better, his decision making, a lot of it is improved. I'm very glad about that. Second, his pre-snap reads. He's much better at that, diagnosing and IDing the mic and making sure that he can read the shell. The third thing he's definitely improved on is that he has also improved in terms of just checking it down when he needs to. He has much improved at not trying to force anything. He's had a couple bad throws, one that was a pick, but thankfully for the most part, he hasn't forced much. But I remember they interviewed Tim Jenkins on Broncos Country Tonight with Benjamin Albright and Ryan Edwards. They talked about this. At the end of the day, they said, I know there's no real separation in QB battles, which as fans, we're impatient. We would want their separation to be now so we can make the decision. But I understand why. They said Teddy, at the end of the day, he's a veteran. He's a 7-year veteran. He's not going to look bad in a camp. At the end of the day, it's going to be game time. That's where Drew, I would say, has kept pace with Teddy, which is encouraging, but it's going to be game time. That's where Drew has to do it. They said if Drew can just simply because Drew, if he can just throw some touchdowns and show the improvements that he has made so far in camp while not turning it over, good. Then we know who our guy is. I've argued that it's better that Drew Lock wins the job right now because I say at this point, he's the only guy on the roster that has a chance to be a franchise guy. Teddy can't be that. If that was the case, he would still be in Minnesota. He would have never left Minnesota if he was a franchise guy. He's not. But I'll make a whole video on that when that decision comes. And I'll be sure recapping both preseason games. You can be sure on that. A lot to talk about there. I've impressed so far with guys like Caden Stearns. He's had 3 interceptions so far. He got 2 off Brett. He's got 1 off Teddy. He's looked really good so far in camp. Draymond Jones and McTelvin Agim. Oh my gosh. Telvin Agim has really established himself as a force in the defensive front. I would not be surprised if he starts alongside Shelby Harris, especially with Mike Purcell being a little iffy coming back from injury. So far, I liked what I'm seeing so far from Draymond Jones. Very good bouncing back from him. Secondary is just as advertised. Patrick Surtain looks fantastic. Jerry Jeudy has had a monster camp, catching he had 2 drops today. But other than that, he's been great. Making a lot of aggressive catches. He's using his hands instead of his chest, which is a huge benefit for him. I'm very impressed with Jerry Jeudy. I'm impressed with most of the receiving corps. Trinity Benson has come along as a force. This guy, I had no idea who he was. Catching big things, making athletic plays. I'm impressed so far with a lot. The QBs, fine. They're fine. But it's going to be game time because at the end of the day, they're going against a really good secondary that just knows how to play them. In a week, they're going against the Vikings, a secondary that doesn't really know their tendencies, and they're going up against a defense whose tendencies they don't understand. So it's going to be a learning experience for all. I expect the defense to be great, but I just want to see what the offense looks like not going against our defense because our defense is just so insanely good. At the end of the day, guys, it is practice. I'm seeing good things from Drew and Teddy. I've seen some not good things. Things to learn from. It's practice. And I know we want the decision to be made. But I think that the Broncos are doing this right. And if you listen to Tim Jenkins, who was talking about specifically the quarterbacks, he mentioned that he said at the end of the day, the game is really where it matters. A guy could be fantastic in practice. And then he could completely piss his pants and completely just ruin it on the field. A guy could be fantastic on the field, but maybe not the greatest practice warrior. Need we remember the great week of practice that was the Vance Joseph era? The Broncos may have had some of the best practices in NFL history. Did not translate onto the field. we got to see how it looks in the game. QBs are fine. Personally, it's a dead heat. Some say slight edge to Drew, some say slight edge to Teddy. It's all a matter of perspective, but at the end, we don't know what's going to happen until the games begin. I still expect Drew to start. Things could change. I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you saw in training camp, what you expect next week coming up against the Vikings, and let's try to be some positive, all right? I'm seeing too many negative vibes so far. Let's be some positive, man. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to do that. Let's have some good vibes. It's football season. It's finally back after what felt like the longest off season in history. We have football again. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I'm glad to be back. I know I haven't made a video all summer, but I've been on vacation a lot, and I just kind of was spending a lot of time on that film study, so that took up most of my time. But anyways, football season's back. I'm back to making videos. I can't wait. Broncos country, 303. I'll see you guys later.